And Disney decided to hire the most insufferable girl boss narcissist that exists on Earth.
Other movie companies are going to look at her and they're going to say box office poison. And a lot of this is due to her behavior leading up to the film's release.
So babe, picture this. You're scrolling TikTok at 2 a.m. and suddenly you see a split screen clip. On one side, Rachel Zegler being, well, Rachel Zegler. On the other, an old Simpsons episode that somehow, some way, basically acts out her entire career implosion before it even happened.
The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
We're talking scene-for-scene vibes. An overconfident young actress cast in a fairy tale reboot gets on stage to promote it and ends up shading the original, alienating the fans, and crashing straight into Hollywood infamy. Like, is this real? Is this a parody? Or are we living in a Simpsons-run simulation? Because the internet has no chill and is already calling this another "they predicted it" moment. And honestly, they might be right.
This is Rachel Zegler, who Disney decided would be brilliant in casting because, as Rachel Zegler says, her millions of fans will line up no matter what she does to see her.
In the cartoon, this fictional starlet is full of Gen Z bad boss energy. She struts onto a red carpet, promotes her feminist reimagining, and goes viral for all the wrong reasons.
It was acting.
That at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
At one point, she literally says, "We don't need saving, we need rewriting." Babe, that line is a copy-paste of Rachel's infamous quote about Snow White not dreaming about love. I mean, you can't make this up. The actress in the episode literally drags the prince character. Cue the crowd's awkward silence, fans start booing, headlines turn nasty, and suddenly she's the villain of her own story. Tell me that's not Rachel's exact timeline.
I'd say that this is one of Disney's biggest regrets ever. I mean, we've discussed it before. I checked Rotten Tomatoes, and the score is even lower than the last time we talked.
The most haunting part? It doesn't stop there. The cartoon character gets torn apart by the press, canceled by her own studio, and replaced by an AI-generated brand-safe version of herself. And guess what? That's kinda exactly what Disney is doing with Rachel right now. They've pulled her from marketing, dropped her from interviews, even pulled merch from shelves. They're slowly phasing her out like she never happened. Fans are literally saying Rachel's Simpsons episode called this entire drama step by step. One edit even showed her IG Live breakdown next to the cartoon character crying behind a movie set, and it's like, girl, too real, too specific, it's giving cursed timeline.
Other movie companies are going to look at her and they're going to say box office poison. And a lot of this is due to her behavior leading up to the film's release.
Once the video hit For You pages, the girlies did not hold back. TikTok creators started dissecting every second of the episode. They were like, okay, this was recorded in 2015? So how did they get this so right? And of course, the comments went full chaos. Rachel's living in a Simpsons rerun and doesn't even know it. Did Matt Groening just casually ruin her career in advance? The way the prophecy is fulfilling in real time. Like, babe, the clip's been re-uploaded a dozen different ways and it still keeps trending. At this point, it's not even about Rachel. It's about the energy of her downfall being so cartoonishly inevitable. The Simpsons just beat the headlines to it.
Absolutely. She's just uniquely unlikable, but then it is actually a terrible film as well. So it's the double whammy.
Word on the street is Rachel is devastated by the comparison. Sources say her PR team is in full panic mode again, not because of a new scandal, but because of an old cartoon. They reportedly think it's cruel that the internet is using a parody to mock her already fragile reputation. But babe, when your actual press quotes sound like they were written by SNL, and now a decades-old cartoon literally matches your timeline, that's not a coincidence. That's a branding crisis. And Rachel's team is very aware. But what can they even do at this point? You can't sue The Simpsons, you can't cancel a meme. This isn't just bad press anymore, it's legendary.
And then they couldn't put dwarfs because this is just so typical of the left. The progressives always finding a way to find their way back to doing something not progressive.
Let's just be honest. When a fictional character on a comedy show has more self-awareness than a real-life star on a global press tour, that's when you know something's off. The cartoon actress realized she was bombing. She tried to fix it. Rachel doubled down, got defensive, blamed the press, blamed the fans, and now the cartoon prophecy is looking more accurate by the day. It's not just a bad rollout anymore. It's not even about Snow White at this point. It's about how fast someone can go from red carpet royalty to being a walking meme. And girl, when the Simpsons call it before it happens, it's already too late.
The controversies surrounding Disney's Snow White remake show that we are still in the thick of the culture wars.
Girl, the fandom is fighting in the comments. Half the internet is screaming, chill, it's just a cartoon, while the other half is like, no, because this is actually spooky. You've got casuals brushing it off like it's a coincidence. And then you've got the full-time TikTok girlies pulling out timelines, numerology, and literal astrology charts to prove this episode manifested the exact path Rachel went down. There are edits with captions like, this episode aired 7 years before Snow White. Rachel was 15. The math is mathing. You think it's just a joke until your career is written by a cartoon. The Simpsons are the new oracle, and Rachel was the sacrifice. Even people who defended Rachel during the Snow White drama are like, okay, this is actually kind of creepy, because when a joke character mirrors your vibe so perfectly, down to the awkward self-important quotes and the fans turning on her, it doesn't feel like a gag anymore. It feels like a warning.
And then Rachel Zegler plays Snow White. I think Gal plays the... I was not a child, so I don't follow.
Let's talk about the mouse, babe. You already know they were hoping the Rachel era would fade into the fog, buried quietly with a pulled marketing campaign and a few polite, no comments. But the Simpsons clip going viral, that's the worst thing that could have happened, because it means the conversation is back. And this time, it's funnier, shadier, and even more brutal. Disney hates when they can't control the narrative. They were already tiptoeing around the Snow White mess, shelving press junkets and throwing Tangled in the vault. Now they've got Gen Z turning Rachel into a Simpsons meme. And worst of all, people like it. This isn't trending because it's controversial. It's trending because it's entertaining. The studio can't shut it down, can't spin it. It's not a scandal they can deny. It's literally just a coincidence so accurate that it's impossible to look away. Behind the scenes, PR is panicking. The last thing they want is Rachel trending. Again, not because of a comeback, but because of a cartoon dragging her for filth from the future.
And Rachel Zegler, being 23 or whatever she is, like so many kids raised on TikTok, she's all for infatata is the only global solution.
You know the line between satire and real life is gone when the internet starts saying things like, Simpsons Rachel had more emotional range. Honestly, the cartoon version was more likable. The prophecy didn't just predict, it upgraded. Brutal? Yes. But also, kinda true. Because let's be honest, babe, Rachel's downfall didn't just come from one bad take, it came from a string of takes, delivered with the kind of smug energy that made fans feel like they were being talked down to not entertained. Now the Simpsons are being treated like they were the first ones to clock her vibe, before the red carpets, before the backlash, before Snow White even had a release date. It's giving, we tried to warn you and you ignored us.
So the two stars hate each other. And then they couldn't put dwarfs.
Here's the wildest part of all this. Rachel's not even a person to the internet anymore. She's a concept. She's become the cautionary tale for what happens when a studio misreads the audience, when a rising star gets handed a legacy, role they don't respect, and when a Gen Z press tour goes from empowered to entitled real fast. The Simpsons didn't just predict a scandal, they captured a pattern. And now every time someone mentions Rachel, it's not about her. It's about what she represents. The moment the princess dream turned into a PR nightmare. And now that cartoon version of her has outlived the reboot.
This is just so typical of the left. The progressives always finding a way to find their way back to doing something not progressive. You'd think the most progressive thing would be get people jobs, and dwarves want to work.
Let's be honest, once the internet memes you, it's over. Once it lives on TikTok, once it's layered over edits, stitched into reaction clips, and used as background music to other people's flops, it's not just shade anymore, it's branding. Rachel isn't just known for flopping Snow White. She's now the face of what happens when you disrespect the role, drag the legacy, and think you can redefine a classic story without understanding the assignment. And now, she's being used as a punchline for future red flags. Like girl, people are literally commenting under unrelated posts. Careful, she's giving Rachel Zegler energy. This is how Rachel started. We've seen this episode. Literally, The Simpsons did it. That's when it becomes dangerous. Because once your name becomes a reference point for failure, it doesn't matter how talented you are. Producers stop picking up the phone.
Can you tell us a little bit about your version of Snow White?
Yeah, I mean, Snow White is the girl you remember, but she's definitely made for the modern age. And there's such an emphasis on what it really means to be the fairest of them all.
Here's what people outside the industry don't see. Studios talk, agents talk, casting directors definitely talk. And what are they seeing right now? A star whose own legacy role turned into a cultural roast, and not just from fans, but from a 30-minute cartoon episode that people now believe is a documentary. Babe, do you know how many execs are now second-guessing Rachel's name on their shortlists? A lot? Because it's not just about risk. It's about the vibe. If your presence brings chaos, distraction, and Simpsons-level foreshadowing, they're gonna pass. Quietly, but decisively. And don't forget, they already paused Tangled. Not because fans weren't ready, but because Disney wasn't ready for another Ziegler-style implosion. And now with this meme blowing up, they're gonna be extra cautious. The internet just turned Rachel into the blueprint for what not to do with a legacy role. And Hollywood listens to heat, especially when it burns this hot.
When people watched it originally in 1937 in the theaters, it was an amazing experience because for most people, it was the first color movie. But second of all, people had so connected emotionally with the character of Snow White that when she eats from the apple and she dies, people were literally weeping in the theater because they liked the character of Snow White so much.
Let's talk about that curse for a second. Every girl who's played a princess post-2010 ends up dragged online at some point. But Rachel became the storm. It's not just because she fumbled the press tour, it's because she tried to rebrand a fairy tale into something it wasn't. And now, the cartoon gods have responded. This is giving Maleficent-level karma. The way The Simpsons laid this out years ago feels like Rachel walked into her own scripted ending. And the way it's playing out now, with edits, memes, reaction clips, and YouTubers doing full breakdowns, it's honestly giving Black Mirror but make it animated. Like, this isn't a downfall. This is a digital haunted house, and Rachel is stuck in it with no exit. Every time she tries to move past the drama, boom, a new layer of the prophecy unfolds.
They're very proud to cast a Latino actress as Snow White. It makes no sense to me. You're progressive in one way, but you're still making that backward story of 7 dwarves living in a cave. What the are you doing, man?
If Disney had even a sliver of hope left for reviving Snow White, this just slammed the coffin shut and hammered it closed. Nobody's taking that movie seriously anymore. Not the fans, not the media, not even the meme accounts. Especially not the meme accounts. Why? Because The Simpsons just turned it into a joke that hits harder than the flop itself. The second your $200 million reboot becomes less iconic than a 90-second cartoon gag, it's time to walk away. They can't remarket it. They can't re-edit it. They can't reframe Rachel's role now that she's trending not for her performance, but for being dragged by a cartoon from a decade ago. This isn't just PR damage. This is reputation decay. And it's coming from a source no one at Disney ever planned for. A yellow animated woman in a pink ball gown who low-key said the exact same things Rachel did, and got canceled for it first.
Every single white male is a piece of shit, and the woman is the hero, and all authority is bad, and all business is bad, but government is good as social. And most people don't know what they're watching. She, unfortunately, sort of pulled the curtain back and people knew exactly what was going on.
Let's be real. This isn't just another oops, awkward moment. This is the kind of thing that sticks. Rachel Zegler may have been gunning for a Disney princess legacy, but now she's trending for a Simpsons episode that managed to summarize her entire PR meltdown better than her team ever could. And girl, the sad part? It's not even new. It's archived. When people look back on her career 5 years from now, are they going to think about her voice? Her Spielberg debut? Her acting chops? No, babe. They're going to think about that one line she said about not needing a prince, right next to a cartoon character who said the exact same thing in 2014 and got booed off stage. You can't recover from that. You can rebrand, you can stay booked, but when your reputation becomes a meme, that's forever.
That's the face of a serial killer.
And if you disagree with this sentiment, just hit the unfollow button. I don't need your business.
Noted.
Thanks.
Let's zoom out for a second, because this isn't just about Rachel. What made this Simpsons clip go viral isn't just the fact that it lines up with her quotes, it's that it exposed an entire era of fake empowerment marketing, the reboot. Strategy that tries to fix female characters by stripping them of everything soft, romantic, or magical. As if strength can't exist with a little sparkle. The Simpsons called it before the trend even peaked. That episode roasted the formula. Take a classic, strip it for parts, cast a loud Gen Z feminist, slap some girl boss monologues on it, and hope for the best. And Rachel? She walked straight into the trap. Now, every other reboot actress is watching. This unfold and quietly praying she's not next. Because let's be real, this could have happened to anyone. It just hit Rachel first because she spoke the loudest, the soonest, and the most off-script. And The Simpsons saw it coming.
Came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Say it louder so your other eye can hear you.
So we didn't do that this time.
Here's where it hits different, babe. When the internet decides you're a symbol, there's no going back. Rachel didn't just get roasted, she got solidified. She's now shorthand for a type of downfall, the overconfident starlet. The one who talked too much. The princess who didn't want the crown. You know you've hit meme legend status when people use your name as a warning label? Careful, you're going full Zegler. Don't pull a Rachel. And now, they don't even have to say her name. They just drop a Simpsons gif and the whole comment section goes, oop, we know. You know what that is? Cultural imprisonment. Rachel is now locked in a moment she didn't create, can't control, and will probably never escape. It's like digital quicksand. The more she tries to move past it, the deeper it pulls her back.
You don't particularly see people who, look like me or are me playing roles like that. So it was definitely when it got announced.
He wasn't a stalker, by the way.
Thing that was like trending on Twitter for days because all of the people were angry.
Now let's be messy. Because her team, they're still treating this like a typical PR mess. They think it's about bad timing or rude fans or internet cruelty. But it's not. It's about vibes, it's about energy, it's about the fact that her whole persona, the smugness, the defensiveness, the way she brushed off the backlash, just never hit with the audience. She didn't lose fans because she had opinions. She lost fans because she made them feel talked down to. And now, instead of owning that, her team's trying to scrub the internet like it's 2010 and memes expire in 24 hours. Girl, no. This isn't a tweet that fades. This is an animated curse, and the second the cartoon version went viral, the narrative was no longer theirs to fix.
And so it was like
Those people.
very much this, yes. It was this
People that we
awakening
need
of-
to educate, the people that we need to love into awareness.
love them in the right direction.
Okay, let's play devil's advocate. Is there any way Rachel can reverse this? Can she survive being the internet's favorite prophecy? In theory? Sure, but only if she does something totally unexpected. Not another safe gig. Not a PR crafted apology. Not a Netflix rom-com where she plays yet another misunderstood, I don't need a man lead. She needs a vulnerability moment. A raw, stripped back, this humbled me public reset. Something so honest, it shocks the internet into forgiving her. Like, sit down with Oprah, cry a little, laugh at herself, say the words, okay, The Simpsons dragged me and I deserved it. If she could own it, really own it, the girlies might let her back in. But will she? Probably not. And that's the tragedy, because if she can't break the cartoon narrative, she'll always be the meme, not the movie star.
The people who you need to entertain, the people who you need to serve, the people who pay your salary.
This wasn't how the story was supposed to go. Rachel was meant to lead the next Disney era. She was supposed to be on lunchboxes, in park parades, on the soundtrack of every Gen Alpha childhood, but instead, she's trending for being a punchline. In an episode of The Simpsons that aired before she even got cast. That's the new fairy tale ending, apparently. No ball gown, no kiss, just edits, memes, and a cautionary tale narrated by Bart Simpson. So now tell me, babe, are we living in a cursed reboot simulation? Was Rachel Zegler's fall from grace just bad luck? Or did The Simpsons literally manifest her downfall into pop culture history? Could she come back from this? Or is the prophecy locked in and sealed? Drop your thoughts in the comments, drag if you must, and don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you're the first to know when another fairy tale goes very wrong. Because if The Simpsons are writing the future, then the next downfall has probably already aired.